So Vader went to a new home yesterday. And the way it happened is my grandma's husband was trying to help find somewhere for the dogs. I call him my grandma's husband because they've only been married for like 6 years, and I was gone for quite a few years, so it's like still kind of weird to wrap my head around that my grandma's married because she wasn't when I was younger. Anyways, so he had reached out to his son, who is married and has 2 children. They have, I guess, a really big house and like an acre and a half that's fenced in. And they had a little dog that it had to be put down a few months back. It got really sick. And they didn't want to let it suffer. So they're grieving the loss of their dog. And when Patrick, my grandma's husband, when he asked if they'd be willing to help with my dogs, they said that they were afraid they'd form an attachment, and that after a few months they'd have to lose another dog that they've fallen in love with, sort of thing. So my grandma came out and asked me what I would think about possibly rehoming Vader. And the reason she said Vader is because I had already been talking with her about her possibly keeping him, because she had fallen in love with him. And I have not been trying to rehome my dogs. I love them all. I wanted to keep all of them with me, but I did need to find somewhere temporarily. And if it was going to come down to it, if I couldn't find a temporary solution, I would have had to potentially surrender them, at the pound. And that's the absolute worst case scenario. So this opportunity for Vader came up where he could have a new family, and they have an 18-month-old little girl and a 4-year-old little boy. So young children. And I don't know, it feels like one of those preordained things, like it was always meant to be, because of course I love Vader. He has been my favorite dog since he was born because he's so sweet and gentle and everything. But I've always felt a little bit bad for him because he's so shy, and because the girls take over on everything, and he just never gets the love and attention that he deserves because they won't allow it. And he's so sensitive. Anytime I get frustrated or if I'm sad or anything like that, it really affects him more than any of the dogs, even I think more than my kids, So knowing that my life right now is unstable, and that this couple has a really stable life, a really healthy relationship, a big home, 2 children, it just seemed like it would be so selfish of me to keep him, just so that I wouldn't have to be sad. And so they came down yesterday. They were going to go to church, but they skipped out on church, and they came down to meet Vader, and it was like they just knew or something, because they were hesitant at first, saying that, they wanted to meet him and do like a trial run, see how it goes. But they ended up deciding to get dog food, and I don't know, they made a bunch of preparations before even coming down to meet him. And as soon as they got here, I had him out in the yard, and he was really excited. He heard them coming. He perked up his ears and was just ready to greet them. Very polite, no barking. He's a quiet boy. And they just fell in love, and they put down the little girl. Like I said, she's only 18 months old, and he was calm and careful around her. And they saw my son, who is wild. He's 14 months old and their daughter's 18 months old. He's bigger than her, so my son is. And he hangs all over the dog. So they saw how Vader responded to that. how well he listens, just how gentle and sweet he is. And he was so excited the whole time. And he doesn't get excited a lot. Like if I baby talk with him or be dorky, you know, he'll get excited and he just gets to wagging his whole entire body. And he was doing that the whole time they were here. And then when it came time and they were ready to go, I brought him outside with his leash and everything. And I suggested that they get up in the vehicle, and then I'll encourage him to get up there too. And there was no issue. It was a little tall for him, so I gave a little bit of help to get him up in there. But he wanted to go. Once he got up in the seat, there was this moment where they had closed the door, and I was over on the driver's side looking through at him on the passenger seat, and he was looking at me, and ears all perked up, tongue hanging out, and he was looking at me a little bit expectant, like he thought I was going to get into and we were all going to go, but he looked happy. And Vader's a fearful dog. He gets scared really easily, and he's shy, like I said. You know, and so the fact that he got up in that vehicle and he was excited about it, and he met these new people and he was excited about it, it all made me feel like it absolutely was the right thing to do. And who's to say that I wasn't the foster? Who's to say that God didn't intend this dog for this family all along, and I was only meant to prepare him? You know, I mean, it makes me feel better to think about it that way, you know. Rose, our first dog, she had 2 litters, you know, and I loved every single puppy from each litter, and I felt very responsible for them to make sure that they had good lives and good homes, because it was my decision not to fix my dog initially in order to let her have some puppies. That way, some people would think it's stupid, but she's such a good dog. I wanted to have a couple of her puppies, and we were in a situation where it was fine. We had 140 acres for them to run around on. So it happened, you know, but I felt very responsible for all of them. And even though Vader's not really a puppy, he'll be 2 next month, you know, I'm still responsible for him, and I want him to be happy, you know. And so this was a gift for Vader, so that he could be happy and he can live a full, joyful life. I mean, he's not even 2 yet, so he's got an entire lifetime ahead of him, you know. And they sent a few pictures to my grandma, and his tongue was just hanging out on the ride, and they got him home, and he's got a cool new collar, and there was pictures of both of the kids with him, you know. So I might be sad, and I might be missing my dog, and it's a big adjustment, but I know he's happy. I know he's happy, and he's not afraid, and he's going to be well cared for, and that's his lifetime home, you know. He will always be with them, and that alone is like medicine, you know, for my heart, as corny as that might sound, because that's all I want for my dogs, is for them to be okay, you know. And the girls are a lot more attached. Vader's kind of always done his own thing. Of course, he loved us, but he's always kind of been on his own anyway. So I know now, you know, that he's really gonna get to come into his own and have a great life. So we'll recover, and when I get a chance, I'll share some pictures, and if I get new videos or anything, I'll share those. But everything's gonna be okay.